Major corporations have continued spending literally millions of dollars to fund the campaigns of Republican lawmakers who aided and abetted the Capitol Hill rioters. One of the ways that they did that was by refusing to certify the election to its rightful winner, Joe Biden. And so after that, they claimed, after the riots took place, these corporations claimed that they would no longer provide campaign donations to these Republican lawmakers. But did they stay true to their promise? Well, turns out, no, of course not. They were hoping that everyone else would stop paying attention, and then they can continue engaging in legalized bribery, because that's how their bread is buttered. They want to make sure that all these elected officials, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, whether they're insurrectionists or not, are working for them, not working for us or our democratic process. Now, according to a report by the nonpartisan watchdog group known as accountable.us, top US companies and trade groups have donated more than $8.1 million to the Republican lawmakers who voted against Joe Biden's certification as president. Those donors include Boeing, General Motors, FedEx, UPS, Pfizer, American Bankers Association. Oh, the credit unions are bad as well. Credit International, yes, the Credit Association. We've got Chevron, we've got Eli Lilly, we've got Merck, Johnson & Johnson. I mean, that's just a few. I'm not listing everything. That's just a few of the corporations who said that they would either pause or stop donating to these Republican lawmakers, and now they have since continued. So the American Bankers Association was the top donor to these individuals. The ABA gave at least $203,000 to the GOP objectors between January 6th and November of 2021. Who was the top recipient? Well, that would be House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. And he received a total of $333,500 since January of 2021. Now, again, after the Capitol riots took place, all of these companies pretended like they really valued our democracy. They pretended to be outraged, horrified about what transpired on January 6th. Dozens of companies, including Walmart, Amazon, Morgan Stanley, and AT&T said they would stop donating to these lawmakers, while others, including Microsoft, Deloitte, and Goldman Sachs, paused all political donations. Donations to the 147 GOP objectors soon recovered, though, reaching nearly $3 million in each of the second and third quarters of 2021. John, are you surprised by any of this?
I knew that they would eventually get back to it. I guess I'm a little bit surprised at how quickly they did, especially considering that it wasn't, for the most part, it wasn't an election year. Like they're under no obligation. Like they're not even getting pressured as much from the lawmakers to donate, but they do. This is all from them. They want to make sure that those lawmakers are on their side. And honestly, in this period where some corporations are refusing to donate to them, that provides a perverse incentive for others to break that prohibition. Because if those lawmakers are hurting a little bit financially, they might give you even more attention for the same donations that you might have been giving in years past. And so you see them donating. Again, not even an election year. The story is disgusting, not just for the insurrection angle. Let's pretend that there wasn't the insurrection. It's disgusting for all the reasons that it normally would. Corporations should not be allowed to do any donations whatsoever. If their CEOs want to donate money, they can legally. Their workers can. They can already do this. How is money also coming through a corporation? How does that make absolutely any sense, except if you are at some point in this food chain of corruption? And virtually everyone who ensures that this sort of thing can continue benefits financially from this arrangement. The numbers are disgusting. $333,000 to Kevin McCarthy. Imagine if a story came out that like one lobbyist from Merck passed a burlap sack with $5,000 from one bathroom stall to another. I hope that would be a major scandal. But no, you just do it like through official channels and you can bribe them 60 times as much. It's perfectly cool. No, this is the sort of story that should be a major scandal. And I'm very glad that you're covering it. But unfortunately, most people probably aren't gonna pay that much attention. They've accepted this corruption.
And that's what these corporations really bank on. The fact that the media tends to have a short attention span. The American people tend to be distracted with a billion different things that flood the news cycle on any given day. But it's important to follow through on these stories because I think what you're saying is so right, John. What this also messages to lawmakers is that there are virtually no consequences, regardless of what you do to even threaten our democracy. There might be some tough talk immediately after something like, I don't know, a Capitol riot. But as soon as people look away, as soon as people are distracted with something else, the very politicians who aided and abetted that terrible behavior, incited that behavior, then get rewarded with these legalized bribes. Just a few more examples. Boeing, of course, is in the mix. Boeing paused political donations after the January 6th attack and said that it condemned the violence, lawlessness, and destruction that took place in the US Capitol in a statement. But following that, Boeing was also among the largest donors profiled, with its PAC giving $190,000 to election objectors. It's since given $10,000 to California Representative Ken Calvert and $9,000 to Kentucky Representative Hal Rogers, among others, according to the report. So they went right back to doing what they do. And oftentimes when we talk about criminal justice reform, there's a lot of talk among right-wingers in regard to, these progressive criminal justice policies make these criminals think they can do whatever they want with absolutely no consequences. And honestly, there are some instances where there are valid points being made. But what I want to mostly point to is how they have no problem with how these nefarious legislators get incentivized to do whatever they want. And more importantly, when they do something that threatens our democratic process, there are no consequences. There are no consequences when it comes to their corporate donors, and there certainly have not been any real consequences politically. Even when the Democrats hold the levers of power, they have not done nearly enough to hold these lawmakers accountable. Yeah, they're investigating the Capitol riots. You have the House Select Committee doing so, but most of the focus so far has been on, Trump's close circle of people. And even they, I would argue, are unlikely to face any real consequences. So we'll see how it all plays out. I hope that they prove me wrong. But the incentives are in the wrong place. And these lawmakers did what they did because they knew that they would get away with it.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.